So, good morning, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, graduates, families and friends. It really is my pleasure to be with all of you today. You're here to celebrate the culmination of wonderful academic achievements and to mark the start of new chapters. Graduates, as you enter your next stage, I hope, like me, you have the privilege of continuing to work and partner with amazing individuals. People who enable you to contribute in such a way that you reach your fullest potential. Spending this time with you today is an honor, and I'd like to talk to you about three things: ambition, being fearless, and pacing yourself. Let's start with ambition. This won't be the first time that someone's told you to be ambitious. And I know it sounds really easy, right? But what does it even mean? For me, ambition is about being intentional, being clear, focused, and hardworking. You wouldn't be here without it. If you're a parent, family member, or cheerleader, and I've heard a few cheerleaders this morning, you have hopes and dreams for your graduate. Graduates, you have goals and plans for yourselves. And that's the beauty of this ambition thing. It's not a solo game. You don't do any of this on your own. It's a team sport. I really implore you to be ambitious. Be ambitious for yourself and for others. Let people know you're ambitious. Let others know you're there to support their ambition. My own journey would not have been possible without it. From my mum, who was fearless in creating pathways for me to succeed as a child, and I'll come back to fearless momentarily, to the administration of Brighton University, who had the open minds to accept a student with less than stellar A-level results, because they knew I could do better. To the store manager of the supermarket that I worked in part-time while studying here in Brighton, who mentored, guided, and pushed me to consider bold options. To my husband and partner in life, and my two children who've joined me on adventures around the world. It really has taken a village. You need people to tell you you're capable of more than you could possibly imagine, and you need to believe in yourselves. So I'll say it again: be ambitious. Let's now turn to being fearless. In 2010, my family and I found ourselves landing in Singapore to begin what would become what I consider to be a life-changing experience for all of us. But it wasn't planned. It required me to say yes, and frankly my husband to say yes, to something that I had limited experience of. The last time I had moved to the equivalent of another country was when I got on the train from Leeds in Yorkshire to Brighton, the day before I was due to start my first term. And that's right, I actually came to Brighton for the very first time the day before I started at university. So it's a little bit of uncharted territory. Anyhow, there I was in 2010 in dynamic, amazing Asia, and I needed to figure things out. And I soon realized that professionally, I was figuring things out whilst being an only. I'd often find myself in situations where I was the only woman, the only person of color, the only Brit. And suddenly this exciting adventure became a little bit scary, and I had to dig into not the bank of mum and dad, but my resilience bank. As you move on to your next chapters, many of you will have fantastic options and opportunities. And some of you will find yourself in the position of being the only. And here's what I want to say to you. Your uniqueness is your greatest asset. Don't let others define your limits, define them for yourself. When I choose to be fearless and less self-limiting, I learn so much. And if you don't find yourself in the position of being the only, then I have something to ask of you as you head out into the world. I ask you to reach out and include. One of the principles of Brighton University is that of inclusion, and you really have a wonderful opportunity to take it out into the world and amplify it. Be mindful of how you can improve the experience of others. It pays dividends for everyone. Which brings me to my third point. As I've said a few times, you've got a lot of options and choices coming your way. If you want to have a positive and lasting impact, you're going to need to pace yourself. Sometimes things will work out, sometimes things won't. And I know some of you had quite a journey this morning on the sometimes things don't work out. That's okay. My friend and author, Dr. Alison Eyring, talks about the need to have the capacity for growth and endurance, knowing when to go hard and fast, knowing when to pull back and refuel. As an ex-marathon runner, I found this analogy helpful as I've navigated both work and life. For those of you who are runners, you'll know there are times when you go full speed ahead. For me, that's generally the last 10 meters of a race. But there are also times when you slow down, catch your breath, take in the scene, and just want to get to the end. Pacing yourself is about continuously recalibrating and adjusting when needed. It helps you focus, it helps you achieve your goals. In conclusion, I, like you, had the privilege of attending this vibrant institution, the University of Brighton. My time here opened my mind to a world of options and opportunities that I could never have imagined. As you take your next steps and architect your future choices, be ambitious, be fearless and inclusive, and last but by no means least, pace yourselves. Thank you.